Coming live from the Tivoli Met Radio studio here on Auraria campus. This is All Sports with Gerardo. Thank you for listening to All Sports through Met Radio on mymetmedia.com, live every Thursday from 3 to 4 p.m. This is your host Gerardo, and all I talk is sports. On the show today, I am going to talk about NFL football, Major League Baseball, NBA basketball, NHL hockey, college football, and college basketball. So before I start the show, I hope you all had a great week. To start off with some breaking news, our 41st President of the United States, George H.W. Bush, died on November 30th. Last Friday, TMZ released a video of Chiefs running back Kareem Hunt being seen shoving and kicking a woman in a Cleveland hotel. Back in February, this incident was reported by multiple sources, but there was no evidence of what happened that night until the release of this video showed what happened during this incident between Kareem Hunt and the woman. The Chiefs stated Kareem Hunt wasn't truthful with management about this altercation during intentional discussions. After the release of this video, the Chiefs released Kareem Hunt, and the NFL placed him on the commissioner's exempt list as the NFL will continue their investigation of what happened. Since no NFL team claimed Kareem Hunt off waivers, he is currently a free agent. Moving on now to Major League Baseball. Currently, there are a few rumors surrounding baseball in regards to what teams are willing to trade their franchise or big-name players. Also, there are rumors of what teams will sign the free agent players available. The Mariners are willing to trade any of their big-name players on their roster, and they were very active last weekend. Over the weekend, the Mariners traded Robinson Cano and Edwin Diaz to the Mets. In return, the Mets gave the Mariners outfielder Jay Bruce, outfielder Jared Kilness, pitcher Anthony Warzak, pitcher Justin Dunn, and pitcher Gerson Batista. The Mariners traded Gene Segura, James Presos, and Juan Nicasio to the Phillies. In return, the Mariners received Carlos Santana and J.P. Crawford. The Mariners traded Alex Combs to the White Sox for Omar Neris. So the Mariners were very active over the weekend. Actually, at the end of the baseball season, they stated that they are willing to trade any of their players. And this past weekend showed that they made a lot of moves, and they're currently deciding that they're going to be in a rebuilding mode and try to get younger players and get a younger roster and just rebuild to become a better team. The Diamondbacks have traded Paul Goldschmidt to the Cardinals. So the Diamondbacks feel that they're also in a rebuilding mode as well. They're trying to trade some of their big-name players or players that have become free agents. They're just going to let them walk away from the team. So far, the Diamondbacks traded Paul Goldschmidt to the Cardinals. This is really going to help the Cardinals as there's competition in the National League Central with the Brewers and the Cubs. So this gives the Cardinals another bat to their lineup, and Paul Goldschmidt has really good numbers against National League Central teams. So this should help the Cardinals win more games and be able to score more runs and get some more RBI runs in as well. And looking at the Diamondbacks, they have also let Patrick Corbin walk as well. The Dodgers have extended manager Dave Roberts' contract, and he agreed to a 4-year contract through the 2022 season. The Nationals and Patrick Corbin have agreed to a 6-year contract. So Patrick Corbin was the guy I was talking to you guys about. He became a free agent, and the Diamondbacks let him walk, so the Nationals picked him up. This is definitely going to help the Nationals because they have Max Scherzer and Steven Strasburg. Adding Patrick Corbin to the starting rotation will help them. The National League East is a very competitive division. And looking at the trades that the Mets made and the players that the Nationals are acquiring, the Nationals are still trying to acquire Bryce Harper, and they're in the pursuit of possibly a reunion. And adding Patrick Corbin to their roster means the Nationals want to win now, and they also want to stay in the competition with the Mets as well, which the Mets, we've seen trade for Gene Segura, Robinson Cano, and Edwin Diaz. So at the beginning of the offseason, the Mets were looking like they were going to trade Noah Segura, possibly even Jacob deGrom. But now adding these key players to their roster, they don't want to trade what they have away right now. In this season, they want to try to see if they can become a better team and win some more games. Because they definitely got the talent on the roster, but they need to win more games. And there's definitely a lot of competition in the National League East. We don't know what the Phillies are going to do. They got a lot of money to spend. They're wanting to acquire Bryce Harper, Manny Machado, both, and some other players. So they got money to spend. They want to make their team better than what it was last season. The moves that the Mets made, they want to stay in the race. The Nationals want to make some moves to stay in the race. The Braves were a big surprise team last year in baseball. They were like a year or two out from being as good as they were, so that's another team you got to worry about. They got young talent on their roster, and with them making it into the playoffs, they're going to want to get back there this year and possibly get to the World Series. So they've added Josh Donaldson. They have a very good roster. We don't have to worry about the Marlins. They're in a rebuilding mode, and they traded all their good players away last year. But those four teams, you really need to watch out for. The National League East is going to be very interesting to watch this upcoming baseball season. The Red Sox and Nathan Eovaldi have agreed to a 4-year contract. Rockies reliever Chris Russin avoids arbitration and signs a 1-year contract with the Rockies. The Padres and Garrett Richards have agreed to a 2-year contract. The Indians and Carlos Carcillo have agreed to a 3-year contract extension. Right now I'm going to take a commercial break. When I come back, I will talk about the NFL.
What's up, runners? Stephen Priester, sports director here at Met Radio. Have you always desired in sports media? If so, Met Radio is at least for you. Come learn the rope from the vets we have at our stadium. See what it takes to be play-by-play for MSU Denver Athletics, and even the opportunity to host your own sports show. Always listen to the local heads around town and finally voice your opinion. Look no further. Met Radio is a place to be heard. Come visit us in Tilly Suite 313 and see how you can be a part of the Met Radio sports team.
We know you're sitting in traffic running right now, wishing that someone will tell you all about the sports topics you love.
Every single day now has been worse than the day before it.
Well,
Good news, everyone.
go to mymetmedia.com/listen and check out the Met Sports Show. We have sports.
One, it's a bad place to live. Two, it's a terrible team. And three, it could ruin your career.
We have food.
Definitely encourage all of you to try the Teledot.
We have the 5 p.m. Mountain Time Slot on lockdown. The Met Sports Show, only on Met Radio.
Welcome back to All Sports with Gerardo. Moving on now to NFL football. For a third game in a row, the Broncos won and they beat the Bengals on the road 24-10. For the Broncos, Case Keenum had 151 yards and 1 touchdown. Philip Lindsay had a big game with 157 yards on 19 carries for 2 touchdowns. Royce Freeman had 48 yards on 12 carries. Cortland Sutton had 85 yards on 4 catches for 1 touchdown. Devontae Booker had 38 yards on 2 catches. Justin Simmons had 1 interception. Bradley Chubb had 1 sack and he recovered the fumble from his sack. Von Miller had a 1.5 sack and Shelby Harris had a 1.5 sack. For the Bengals, Jeff Dursick had 236 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 interception. Joe Mixon had 82 yards on 12 carries. Tyler Boyd had 97 yards on 6 catches, and Cody Core had 30 yards on 1 catch for 1 touchdown. Philip Lindsay was named AFC Offensive Player of the Week for Week 13 after having 157 yards and 2 touchdowns against the Bengals. Philip Lindsay is the 10th undrafted rookie in NFL history to win the Offensive or Defensive Award. He is the 3rd Bronco player this season to receive an AFC Weekly Conference honor. Von Miller was named AFC Defensive Player of the Week for Week 11, and Emmanuel Sanders was named AFC Offensive Player of the Week for Week 7. He currently ranks 4th in the NFL for rushing. So if you have not, you definitely need to watch Philip Lindsay, even if you are or you're not a Broncos fan. You need to watch his film. Philip Lindsay has definitely been a surprise to the Broncos and for the NFL. He was an undrafted running back from CU. He wasn't even invited to the NFL Combine. The Broncos signed him and picked him up before training camp. And since training camp, he has definitely impressed the Broncos and the NFL. He's definitely on pace to set and break a lot of running back records, especially coming from the undrafted side as being an undrafted player. But he definitely has been interesting to watch this season. If you have not, you need to go out and vote your favorite NFL players and the best NFL players to this year's Pro Bowl. And Philip Lindsay better be a name that you vote into the Pro Bowl. He's definitely a player that deserves it, and he needs to be recognized for his accomplishments for his rookie season. He even called Terrell Davis and asked him if he could wear number 30 in honor of Terrell Davis. So this guy has definitely been impressing to watch this season, and I can't wait for what he does for the rest of the season. Unfortunately for the Broncos, this is a big loss for them. Broncos wide receiver Emmanuel Sanders tore his Achilles during practice on Wednesday. Emmanuel Sanders will miss the rest of the season, and he will be placed on injured reserve. This is a big loss to the team. Emmanuel Sanders has been the top receiver for Case Keenum and for the Broncos. So, with the Broncos trading away Demaryius Thomas, Courtland Sutton, another rookie that you need to watch film on or keep an eye on because he's definitely impressing to watch as well. He's even going to have a bigger role now since Demaryius Thomas got traded to the Texans. Emmanuel Sanders is out for the rest of the year, so Courtland Sutton's definitely going to be the number 1 wide receiver to Case Keenum. So far, Courtland Sutton has definitely been impressing to watch. He's made some catches and some plays, and he's had a few touchdowns as well. So he can definitely be a future NFL wide receiver star for the Broncos and for the NFL. So it's only his rookie season. He definitely has a lot of potential, and this guy can definitely make some very great catches. If you go back and look at some film, he's definitely made some good catches just playing in a few games this season. So, unfortunately for the Broncos, what's killing their chances of making it into the playoffs or having a better season is injuries. Injuries can kill any team in any sports. And we've seen from the Broncos-Bengals game that there were a lot of injuries that took place. Also, another injury that occurred was to Chris Harris. He's supposed to be out for like a month for the rest of the season. And if they happen to make it back into the playoffs, he should be back by then. And he did state that he does not need to have surgery, but he just needs to sit out and rest at this point. So we're just going to have to wait and see what happens for the Broncos for the rest of the season. But injuries has definitely killed the Broncos' chances of winning games and potentially making it into the playoffs this year. Tom Brady has reached 1,000 career yards, and he tied Hall of Fame quarterback Brett Favre with 508 career touchdown passes. Tom Brady still has a lot of football left to be played, and he can definitely break or get close to breaking some of these records that are set by other quarterbacks. Tom Brady's definitely the GOAT, and he will be a first ballot Hall of Famer once he retires. Last Sunday, after the Packers lost to the Cardinals 20-17, the Packers fired head coach Mike McCarthy, and Joe Paterno will be the interim head coach. Mike McCarthy was the head coach for the Packers for 13 years, and he won Super Bowl 45. Redskins quarterback Alex Smith is dealing with complications from surgery on the compound fracture in his leg, and his injury is considered a career-threatening injury. So back when the Redskins played the Texans, Alex Smith suffered a gruesome leg injury, and there's a lot of rumors surrounding that this could be a career-ending injury. It was a really bad injury, and it also stated today that when they were doing the surgeries on Alex Smith, he did have an infection in the leg, so they're trying to fix that right now. So it's not looking too good for Alex Smith, but his family did state that they appreciate all the support and prayers, and that they hope for a speedy and a better recovery for Alex Smith. And Alex Smith does hope that he can get back to playing football in a few months, a year from now, or later on once he can try to fully recover from this injury that he's trying to recover from. Patrick Mahomes became the youngest player to throw 40 touchdowns. There's still about a month of football left to be played, but Patrick Mahomes is getting close, and he could possibly break the 55 touchdown record that's held by Peyton Manning. He's definitely on pace to breaking that record, so we're just going to have to wait and see how many more touchdowns he throws, but he's definitely been impressive to watch this season. For a second year in a row, the Rams have won the NFC West, and they were the first team to clinch a playoff spot. Bengals wide receiver AJ Green is expected to undergo season-ending surgery on his torn ligaments in his toe. He's expected to make a full recovery and be ready by OTAs this offseason. The Bengals place AJ Green on injured reserve. The Ravens are placing running back Alex Collins on injured reserve. The Raiders are signing free agent running back CJ Anderson. The current MVP watch is between Patrick Mahomes, Drew Brees, Todd Gurley, and Phillip Rivers. So this is going to be very interesting. I believe this is going to come down to which team makes it further into the playoffs and potentially can make it to the Super Bowl and possibly win it. Patrick Mahomes has definitely been impressive to watch this season. There's a lot of great things from Patrick Mahomes that we've saw this season, so he has a very great chance of winning MVP. Drew Brees is having another great season as well. He has breaking a lot of records this season, and he's on pace to become like the first player in every record as well, depending on how long he plays. So he has a strong case as well. Todd Gurley's on the Rams. He has a strong case as well. Phillip Rivers also has a strong case. They've been on a winning streak. They've been playing really great football. The Chargers have been able to beat some really good teams. So the MVP race in the NFL is very competitive, and we're just going to have to wait and see what happens. But just like I said, it's probably going to come down to which team advances the furthest into the playoffs. In the Week 13 NFL Power Rankings, the current top 10 NFL teams are the Rams, Saints, Chiefs, Patriots, Chargers, Texans, Steelers, Bears, Seahawks, and Ravens. Right now I'm going to take a commercial break. When I come back, I will talk about the rest of the NFL.
What's up, Rogue? Stephen Priest here, sports director at Met Radio. Have you always desired to work in sports media? If so, Met Radio is a place. Come learn the road and bets we have at our station. See what it takes to do play-by-play for MSU Denver athletics, and even earn the opportunity to host your own sports show. If you all listen to the local radio head around town and wish to finally voice your opinion, look no further. That was the place to be heard. Visit us in Tivoli Suite 313 and see how you can be part of the Met Radio sports team.
We know you're sitting in traffic right now, wishing that someone will tell you all about sports topics you love.
Every single day of my life has been worse than the day before.
Well,
News every long.
go to mymetmedia.com/listen and check them out sports show. 3 sports.
One, it's a bad place to live. Two, it's terrible. And three, it could ruin your career.
We have food.
Definitely encourage all of you to try the Nutella.
We have the 5 p.m. Mountain Time slot on lockdown. The sports show only on Net Radio.
Welcome back to All Sports with Gerardo. Moving on now. Right now I'm going to tell you the NFL regular season Week 13 final scores, and I will tell you the highlights from this week of football, and I will also get into the current division standings and playoff picture in the AFC and the NFC. So to start off, the New Orleans Saints versus the Dallas Cowboys. The final score, the Cowboys won 13-10. The Baltimore Ravens versus the Atlanta Falcons. The final score, the Ravens won 26-16. The Carolina Panthers versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The final score, the Buccaneers won 24-17. The Chicago Bears versus the New York Giants. The final score, the Giants win 30-27. The Buffalo Bills versus the Miami Dolphins. The final score, the Dolphins won 21-17. The Indianapolis Colts versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. The final score, the Jaguars win 6-0. The Cleveland Browns versus the Houston Texans. The final score, the Texans win 29-13. The Denver Broncos versus the Cincinnati Bengals. The final score, the Broncos won 24-10. The Los Angeles Rams versus the Detroit Lions. The final score, the Rams won 30-16. The Arizona Cardinals versus the Green Bay Packers. The final score, the Cardinals won 20-17. The Kansas City Chiefs versus the Oakland Raiders. The final score, the Chiefs win 40-33. The New York Jets versus the Tennessee Titans. The final score, the Titans won 26-22. The San Francisco 49ers versus the Seattle Seahawks. The final score, the Seahawks won 43-16. The Minnesota Vikings versus the New England Patriots. The final score, the Patriots won 24-10. The Los Angeles Chargers versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. The final score, the Chargers won 33-30. And the Washington Redskins versus the Philadelphia Eagles. The final score, the Eagles won 28-13. So that's all the final scores from the 13th week of regular season football. The highlights from this week of regular season football: the Eagles were able to beat the Redskins in an NFC East divisional matchup. The Chargers-Steelers game was a great game. The Chargers were able to win on the road at Pittsburgh at the end of the game, 33-30. The Patriots were able to win at home against the Vikings. The Seahawks were able to win at home against the 49ers. The Titans won at home against the Jets. The Chiefs were able to go on the road and win an AFC West divisional matchup against the Raiders 40-33. The Chiefs-Raiders games are always great games to watch. The Cardinals, one of the worst teams in the NFL, were able to go on the road to Green Bay at Lambeau Field and beat the Packers 20-17. So this season's just getting worse for the Packers. They ended up firing head coach Mike McCarthy. The Rams were able to go on the road and beat the Lions. They won the NFC West, and they were the first team to clinch a playoff spot. The Broncos were able to go on the road to Cincinnati and win 24-10. This is their third straight win. Phillip Lindsay's been looking great. He had a great performance just like every other week, so definitely need to keep an eye on Phillip Lindsay. And Cortland Sutton. Unfortunately, there were a lot of injuries that took place during this game, like Chris Harris Jr. Emmanuel Sanders got injured this week, so the only thing hurting the Broncos' chances of making it into the playoffs or having a better season is injuries. They've had a lot of injuries to key players this year. That's unfortunate that's happened to the Broncos, because they are playing better football, especially coming off their bye week. The Texans were able to win at home against the Browns. The Jaguars were able to pull off a win at home against the Colts 6-0 after benching their quarterback Blake Bortles. The Dolphins were able to win at home against the Bills at the end of the game. Quarterback Josh Allen for the Bills had a chance at throwing the football to the end zone to win the game, but he did not throw the football far enough, and it didn't make it all the way for the wide receiver to catch it and to win the game for the Bills. The Bears-Giants game went into overtime, and the Giants were able to pull off this win at the end, 30-27. This was an upset to the Bears. The Buccaneers were able to win at home against the Panthers. The Ravens were able to go on the road and beat the Falcons. And the Cowboys were able to pull off an upset at home against the Saints, and they were able to win a close game, 13-10. So that's all the highlights from this week of regular season football. Looking at the current playoff picture and the division standings in the AFC and the NFC, right now the Chiefs are 10-2. They're the first seed, and they are leading the AFC West. The Patriots are 9-3. They're the second seed, and they're leading the AFC East. The Texans are 9-3. They're the third seed. They're leading the AFC South. The Steelers are 7-4-1. They're the fourth seed, and they're leading the AFC North. The Chargers are 9-3. They're the fifth seed. They're the first wild card spot. The Ravens are 7-5. They're the sixth seed, and they're the second wild card spot. The current teams in the division and the teams fighting for the first wild card spot, that's going to be a little bit interesting in the AFC. There's a chance that if the Chiefs do happen to lose one or two games and the Chargers go on a winning streak, the Chargers could take over and lead in the AFC West. There could be different seating positions in the AFC right now. In the AFC, the Dolphins, the Colts, the Broncos, and the Titans, they're all at 6-6. So the only way one of these four teams could make it in would be as a second wild card spot, and currently the Ravens are holding on to that spot. The Ravens would have to lose, and these other teams would have to win, and then these other teams would have to lose. So it's just a wait and see of what happens there. Currently the Rams are 11-1. They're the first seed, and they did clinch the NFC West. They're currently holding on to the first seed in the NFC, but this could possibly change depending on how the Saints play and if they win any more games, and if the Rams were to lose another game or two. The Saints are 10-2. They're the second seed, and they are leading the NFC South. The Bears are 8-4. They're the third seed, and they're leading the NFC North. The Cowboys are 7-5. They're the fourth seed, and they're currently leading the NFC East. For the Cowboys, they were able to slide into the fourth seed, and they were also able to slide into the NFC East to lead their division, because Alex Smith did go down with a leg injury. And then the Redskins brought in Colt McCoy to be their backup. He had an injury the following week, so he's out for the rest of the season, just like Alex Smith. And now Mark Sanchez, the third quarterback that they brought in, is going to be the starting quarterback for the Redskins. So this gives a chance of the NFC East being an open competition, and this gives a chance for the Cowboys potentially winning this division and getting into the playoffs this season. The Seahawks are 7-5. They're the 5th seed and they're the first wild card team. The Vikings are 6-5-1. They're the 6th seed and they're the second wild card team. In the hunt in the NFC, the Panthers, Eagles, and Redskins, they're all sitting at 6-6. Basically, the 2 wild card spots in the NFC are open, and depending on which teams win or lose, they could slide into these 2 wild card spots. And the Seahawks and the Vikings, if they do lose games, they could slide out of these wild card spots. So that's the current standings in the AFC, in the NFC of the current division standings in the playoff picture. There's about a month of football left to be played, and a lot can change. So looking at the NFL regular season week 14 schedule, right now I'm going to tell you the teams that go up against each other and the matchups for this week of regular season football, and then I'll tell you what to watch for this week. On Thursday Night Football, we got the Jacksonville Jaguars against the Tennessee Titans. On Sunday, we got the New York Jets against the Buffalo Bills, the New York Giants against the Washington Redskins, the New Orleans Saints against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the New England Patriots against the Miami Dolphins, the Baltimore Ravens against the Kansas City Chiefs, the Indianapolis Colts against the Houston Texans, the Atlanta Falcons against the Green Bay Packers, the Carolina Panthers against the Cleveland Browns, the Denver Broncos against the San Francisco 49ers, the Cincinnati Bengals against the Los Angeles Chargers, the Detroit Lions against the Arizona Cardinals, the Pittsburgh Steelers against the Oakland Raiders, the Philadelphia Eagles against the Dallas Cowboys. On Sunday Night Football, we got the Los Angeles Rams against the Chicago Bears. And on Monday Night Football, we got the Minnesota Vikings against the Seattle Seahawks. So that's all the matchups and what teams go up against each other in this week of regular season football. What to watch for this week of regular season football: the Rams-Bears game on Sunday Night Football. That's going to be a great game. That's going to be a big matchup between these two teams. Can the Cowboys win at home against the Eagles in an NFC East divisional matchup? This game in the Eagles and the Cowboys can determine who wins the NFC East. Can the Steelers go on the road and beat the Raiders in Oakland? Can the Chargers win at home against the Bengals? Can the Broncos go on the road to San Francisco and beat the 49ers, win their 4th straight game? I can see this happening. The 49ers don't have quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo. The 49ers are not as great as they were at the beginning of the season. So if the Broncos don't make this game hard, they score points and they play great defense, they should win their 4th straight game. There's no reason why they should lose this game against the 49ers. Can the Browns win at home against the Panthers? After the Packers fired head coach Mike McCarthy, can the Packers win at home against the Falcons? We're going to have to wait and see. Can the Chiefs win at home against the Ravens? This is always a great game against the Patriots and the Dolphins. And usually when the Patriots go on the road to Miami, the Dolphins do play great football. And the Dolphins have beat the Patriots a couple times these last few years. And it's helped other teams to knock the Patriots from the 1st seed to the 2nd seed in the AFC playoff picture. So can the Patriots go to Miami and beat the Dolphins? down in South Florida, or can the Dolphins pull an upset and beat the Patriots at home? We're going to have to wait and see, but this is always a great matchup. Can the Saints bounce back after losing to the Cowboys and go on the road to Tampa and beat the Buccaneers? This is another great NFC South divisional matchup. Can the Giants go on the road and beat the Redskins in an NFC East divisional matchup? Can the Jets go on the road and beat the Bills at home in Buffalo? Or can the Bills bounce back after losing to the Dolphins in a divisional matchup? Can the Bills win at home against the Jets? And can the Jaguars go on the road and beat the Titans with their backup quarterback? We're just going to have to wait and see, but that's what's to watch for in this week of regular season football. So right now I'm going to take a commercial break. When I come back, I will talk about the NBA and NHL.
Runner Steve Priest here, sports director Matt Brady. Have you always desired to work in sports media? If so, radio is the place for you. Come learn the ropes from what we have at our station. See what it takes to do play-by-play for NBC Denver Athletic, and even earn the opportunity to host your own sport. Do you always listen to the local radio heads in town and wish you could voice your opinion? Look further. Met Radio is a place to be heard. Come visit us in Tivoli Suite 313 and see how you can be a part of the Met Radio sports team.
Welcome back to All Sports with Gerardo. Moving on now to NBA basketball. The Warriors have 3 players, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Kevin Durant, with a 50-point game this season. Only the 1961-62 Lakers had 3 players with a 50-point game in a season. So far this season, there has already been 8 50-plus point performances, and this is the most before December. In the previous 9 seasons, there were 8 50-plus point game performances combined. On Wednesday, Russell Westbrook passed Jason Kidd to move into 3rd place for the most triple-doubles. Only Magic Johnson and Oscar Robertson are in front of Russell Westbrook. Tony Parker moved into 18th place in all-time assists. So far, Nuggets center Nikola Jokic has 3 games with 15-plus assists over the last 30 years, and the rest of the NBA centers have 0 combined. The Bulls have fired head coach Fred Hoiberg after a 5-19 start. Jim Boylen will take over as the permanent head coach. The Grizzlies have agreed to a 1-year veterans minimum contract with Joakim Noah. 76ers Markelle Fultz's injury has been diagnosed as neurologic traumatic outlet syndrome, and he should return to the court in 3 to 6 weeks. Cavaliers center Tristan Thompson was fined $15,000 for making an inappropriate gesture towards a fan. This happened at the end of the Cavaliers-Nets game on December 3rd. Right now I'm going to give you the current NBA standings in the Eastern and Western Conference. So to start off with the Eastern Conference, I'm going to list the top 8 teams in both the Eastern Conference and the Western Conference. So to start off, in the Eastern Conference, at number 1 is Toronto, and number 2 is Milwaukee, and number 3 is Philadelphia, number 4 is Detroit, number 5 is Indiana, number 6 is Boston, and number 7 is Orlando, and at number 8 is Charlotte. So that's the current Eastern Conference standings in the NBA, and Toronto is the best team in the Eastern Conference right now. In the Western Conference, I'm going to list the top 8 teams that are currently in the top 8 in the Western Conference. So to start off at number 1, believe it or not, the Denver Nuggets are at number 1 right now. And they have a 17-7 record, and they're the best team in the Western Conference right now. The Nuggets have been a surprise to the NBA this year. They have a 7-game winning streak. They've been winning a lot of games lately. Even with the Nuggets having players battling through injuries and being without their starters like Will Barton, Isaiah Thomas, and Michael Porter Jr., they're still playing some great basketball. And the Nuggets is definitely a team you need to watch going into the rest of this season. At number 2 is Oklahoma City. Number 3 is the Los Angeles Clippers. And number 4 is Golden State. Number 5 is the Los Angeles Lakers. At number 6 is Memphis. Number 7 is Portland. And at number 8 is Dallas. So that's all the Western Conference standings and the top 8 teams in the Western Conference. So what to watch for in the NBA? Definitely need to keep an eye on Toronto. They're playing some great basketball right now. Need to keep an eye on the Nuggets. The Thunder. The Clippers have been another surprise team. The Warriors, of course. The Los Angeles Lakers. They've been winning games lately and they have been playing better basketball, so they're starting to make their way up the Western Conference standings. In the Mavericks, they have Luka Duka, the rookie. He's been playing some great basketball lately as well, so that's what's to watch for in the NBA right now. In the Week 8 NBA Power Rankings, the current top 10 NBA basketball teams are the Raptors, Bucks, Warriors, Clippers, Thunder, Nuggets, 76ers, Pistons, Lakers, and Celtics. Moving on now to NHL hockey. The NHL anonymously approved Seattle an NHL expansion team, and the team is expected to start playing for the 2021 season. After Seattle agreed to renovate Key Arena, the NHL was in favor of giving Seattle the 32nd NHL team. For the last few years, Seattle has been asking for the NHL to give them a hockey team. After Las Vegas got the Vegas Golden Knights, Seattle started having conversations of them getting an NHL team, and the NHL finally did approve Seattle of getting an NHL team. So Seattle is definitely looking forward to having a hockey team, and they can't wait for them to start. Right now I'm going to give you the current standings in the Eastern and Western Conference. In the NHL, the division standings go off the amount of goals the team scored, not by the wins or losses by the team. So to start off in the Eastern Conference, in the Metropolitan Division right now, Washington is leading this division at 33 points, and Columbus is right behind them at 32 points. In the Atlantic Division, right now Tampa Bay is leading this division at 43 points, and Toronto is behind them at 40 points. In the Western Conference, in the Central Division, right now Nashville's leading this division at 39 points. The Colorado Avalanche are right behind them at 37 points. And Winnipeg is right behind them at 36 points. You definitely need to keep an eye on the Colorado Avalanche. They've been starting to play some really good hockey lately, so definitely keep an eye on them and watch them play some hockey. They've been on a winning streak lately as well. In the Pacific Division right now, Calgary is leading this division at 36 points, and Anaheim is right behind them at 35 points. So that's the current division standings in the Eastern and Western Conference of the NHL. Right now I'm going to take a commercial break. When I come back, I will talk about college football, college basketball, and the end of the show.
What's up, Roadrunner? Stephen Priest here, Sports Trip, Met Radio. Have you always desired to work in social media? If so, Met Radio is a place for you. Come learn the road bets we have at our station. See what it takes to make play-by for MSU Denver Athletics, and the opportunity to host your own show. You always know the local radio heads on town and wish you could finally voice your opinion in? No further, Met Radio place to be heard. Come visit us in Tivoli Suite 303 and see if you can be part of the Met Radio's Radio team.
Welcome back to All Sports with Gerardo. Moving on now to college football. Last Sunday, the college football playoff top 25 and top 4 teams were announced. In the college football playoff top 4, the top 4 college teams are number 1 Alabama, number 2 Clemson, number 3 Notre Dame, and number 4 Oklahoma. In the college football top 25, the top 25 college football teams are Alabama, Clemson, Notre Dame, Oklahoma, Georgia, Ohio State, Michigan, UCF, Washington, Florida, LSU, Penn State, Washington State, Kentucky, Texas, West Virginia, Utah, Mississippi State, Texas A&M, Syracuse, Fresno State, Northwestern, Missouri, Iowa State, and Boise State. Last weekend, Jalen Hurts led number 1 Alabama to a comeback win to beat number 4 Georgia 35-28 in the SEC Championship. For a 4th straight time, number 2 Clemson beat Pittsburgh 42-10 in the ACC Championship. For a 4th straight time, number 5 Oklahoma beat number 14 Texas 39-27 in the Big 12 Championship. Number 6 Ohio State beat number 22 Northwestern 45-24 in the Big 10 Championship. Number 9 Washington beat number 17 Utah 10-3 in the Pac-12 Championship. Number 8 UCF beat Memphis 56-41 in the AAC Championship. And number 21 Fresno State beat number 25 Boise State in overtime 19-16 in the Mountain West Championship. At the end of the college football season, Ohio State head coach Urban Meyer will retire. Urban Meyer has won 3 national championships, 2006, in 2008 with Florida, in 2014 with Ohio State. He has a 186-32 record in 17 seasons at 4 universities, and he has a .853 winning percentage, which is the 3rd best in FBS history. Urban Meyer is definitely one of the best college football coaches to ever coach in college football, and he's definitely had a lot of success in college football with being on different college football teams. So congrats to Urban Meyer this year, and they're definitely looking forward to continuing the college football season and seeing if they can win their bowl game. This Saturday, watch Navy and Army go against each other. Moving on now to college basketball. In the men's college basketball AP Top 10 poll, the current top 10 college basketball teams are Gonzaga, Kansas, Duke, Virginia, Michigan, Nevada, Tennessee, Auburn, Kentucky, and Michigan State. Moving on now to end the show, what to watch for this week in sports. The Broncos' next game is this Saturday at the 49ers. The 14th week of regular season football, the Denver Nuggets, they've been on a winning streak. They're playing some great basketball, so you definitely need to watch them. College basketball, this Saturday, watch Navy and Army go against each other. Moving on now, on the next show, I will talk about NFL football, Major League Baseball, NBA basketball, NHL hockey, college football, and college basketball. I hope you all have a great weekend. Tune in to the next All Sports with Gerardo show next Thursday from 3 to 4 p.m. I want to say thank you to everybody that listens to All Sports through Met Radio here on mymetmedia.com. Subscribe or like my pages on social media at All Sports with Gerardo. Until next time, this is Gerardo.